Petit, head of IIIM, which is the International Impartial and Independent Mechanism for Syria. Welcome to our screen, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to start by what you said in your speech to the General Assembly yesterday. You said in your speech, and I'm quoting you here word per word, that the events of December 8th, 2024 mark a pivotal moment in Syria, which the Secretary General, you said, described as a flame of hope that must not be extinguished. A pivotal moment, not only for Syria and the Syrians, but also for the world. Can you elaborate, sir?
Well, I meant that after decades of oppression and 14 years of mass atrocities going unanswered, Syrians now have the hope for justice, a real hope that justice will be realized. It must be realized for them. It must be realized for the international community, especially at a time when a lot of mass crimes go unanswered or seem to be going unanswered. It is a pivotal moment for them and for us, the international community.
You visited Syria when the Assad regime was toppled on the 8th of December. You visited between the 20th and 24th of December 2024. And then you visited again 2 weeks ago, this month, to meet with the Syrian leadership. And you really were well received, especially by the foreign minister, Mr. Asad al-Shaybani. What did you achieve in this visit, and were you convinced that the Syrians have started seriously down the road to achieving accountability and justice in Syria?
Well, the purposes of the visit were to engage with the Syrian authorities, the interim authorities, which we have started, as you said, since December. That engagement has been ongoing, has been positive, and we have found from the beginning an opening to discuss how we, the IIIM, and more generally other international stakeholders, could help Syrians achieve justice. We have found that there is, from the beginning, an openness and a realization from the interim authorities that there needs to be justice. One of the first things that Minister al-Shabani told me when I first met him, they know that they have to have justice, otherwise victims will take justice in their own hands. They realize, they know, because they are themselves the victims, that there needs to be justice. So I'm comforted by the fact that we have been and continue to engage, and we're hoping that we will come to further engagement and further the concrete steps that we can undertake to help Syrians achieve justice.
Your team at the mechanism could provide a wealth of experience, recommendation, best practices to support the review of the legal framework. And did the Syrian authorities inform you what exactly they need from the mechanism?
We are in the process of offering them, as you mentioned, different types of assistance that we could bring to them. It's a very complex issue, and there's a lot to be done on all fronts. In terms of the legal framework, as with the rest of the rebuilding of the Syrian society, we could certainly assist with that, and we've been in discussions with various contact points, the Minister, the Prosecutor General's office, Minister Shabani, and others, and we will continue to do so and try to find ways to assist.
Who will bear the cost and provide the necessary resources for supporting and coordinating the process of transitional justice in Syria?
Well, the IIIM was created in 2016, in December 2016, and is part of the regular budget of the United Nations since 2021. We are solely dedicated to do that. We are created for that, and we are dedicated to that. So, in and of itself, there's no cost to
the Syrians.
Exactly. What we can't do everything by ourselves, and nobody can. So what we can do, in addition to discharging our mandate, is to help coordinate support for Syria to develop transitional justice. Because, as you said, we have a wealth of experience, we have knowledge, and we can certainly help towards that as well.
Up to date, how many requests of assistance have you received from the Syrians? Investigations and crimes committed in Syria?
From the Syrian authorities, none yet. We have not engaged at that level yet. You realize it's 6 months. There is obviously a lot of different competing priorities,
Of course.
but we have not engaged at that level yet.
You spoke about helping the French investigators that led to the arrest warrants being issued against the former President Bashar al-Assad and his brother Maher al-Assad, along with 8 others senior officials, Syrian officials. Can you tell us more about this?
Well, the mechanism has 2 mandates. Right? It's to support current and future jurisdictions who are investigating, prosecuting, and trying cases of serious crimes committed in Syria since March 2011. So we support jurisdictions like France by doing different things, by producing witness statements, evidence, analytical report, etc., etc. So we were able to say, France has authorized us to disclose that we have helped their investigation and prosecution in this particular case in various ways, as I said, with different pieces of evidence.
What does issuing an arrest warrant against a person in France while the person is in Russia, what does it mean?
It certainly means that if that person were to travel to France, that person would have to appear on that warrant, or would most likely
Which
be
is
arrested.
very unlikely.
Which may be unlikely, but if history has shown us, is that eventually justice will catch up. It may take a while, but eventually, even heads of state have had eventually, former heads of states, have had eventually to face justice. So justice must follow its own course and let history and the political events follow their own, but eventually they will meet.
Your budget did not increase since 2020, despite the increasing workload and the changing realities in Syria, while the United Nations is suffering from cuts everywhere, and we all know about it. It's an old story now. So many agencies have to cut by 20, by 30%. Their staffing, their services, which in the end could cause lives. Are you feeling the pinch of these pressures, especially that, as I said, your budget did not increase since 2020? And is there a funding gap for 2025?
We have a funding gap of 7.5 million for 2025 alone. We had it before the events of December. And now, with an increasing demand and also an opportunity that we hope will concretize, we are indeed in need of support. But as you said, this is across the board. We're not specifically targeted. This is a story across the UN and across the international community. It is unfortunate and almost cynical that it is happening for us at a moment when we could finally fulfill our mandate.
Actually, yes.
When we could have finally the realization that the international community and the Syrians expect us to, which is to help bring transitional justice and bring justice and accountability, rather, to Syria. Yes. It's unfortunate. I still am hopeful that as we progress and as we get more involved in Syria,
and show more results.
Exactly. Show what we can do and what we can bring, that we will get support from international actors who realize in the region and over the world that Syria must not fail. And part of that success has to be accountability. It has to be transitional justice that meets the needs of Syrians, that they decide for themselves what it is, but it has to be part of anything that's going to be sustainable in the future. So I am still hopeful that we can get the resources we need, because I think it would be tragic if, because of these circumstances, we cannot hold accountable some of the people responsible for some of the worst atrocities seen in the last century.
How confident are you that you'll be able to hold accountable the culprits of the crimes that took place in Syria since March 2011?
Well, we will help to hold those accountable. We're not a tribunal, as you know. We don't investigate or we don't accuse.
But at least you will point the fingers to the people with evidence, of course.
Of course, and we will continue, and we have been doing that. We have been holding them accountable by assisting those jurisdictions, those 487 requests for assistance, I think the number is, since for the last 8 years. Over 300 separate investigations and cases that we've helped support through in all these 16 jurisdictions. So we have been helping hold accountable those responsible for those crimes. We'll continue to do so. The hope now is that we could do that from Syria and with Syrians.
If I asked you, how do you rate the cooperation of the Syrian authorities now with you? I understand you've met, there was cordial meetings, good atmosphere. The Foreign Minister of Syria, Mr. Asad Shaybani, was sitting in that chair, and he told me that they give utmost importance and priority for the achieving transitional justice and accountability in Syria, because otherwise the consequences will be dire. How confident are you that you will get the cooperation, the permissions, the access to send your teams to Syria?
I'm confident, based on the engagement that we've had for these past few months, the level of openness and accessibility that I've had. I've met with Mr. Shabani 3 times now, I think. And you saw from his speech yesterday, first of all, that he took the stand after me to the General Assembly.
Exactly.
For the first time, that Syria expressed a positive view of the IIIM, and indeed, as Mr. Shabani said himself, for the past 8 years, we have been putting the spotlight and helping put the spotlight on the atrocities committed in Syria. As I said, they are all the indications are that they are very much dedicated to having a transitional justice process. And again, I'm hopeful and very hopeful that we'll be able to play a part.
Time is catching up with us, and I have time for one question quickly. You told the General Assembly yesterday that Mr. Shaybani told you, when you met him in Damascus, that victims must believe that there is hope for justice. Otherwise, violence may appear to be the only remedy. Doesn't the cuts, or a multiple of cuts, send the wrong message to the victims? Because these restrictions in the budget will restrict your ability to help in investigating, documenting, digitizing your documents, lots of costs. Doesn't that give the wrong message to the people of Syria?
It is unfortunate, as I said, that the time where we have the most opportunity is also the time when we seem to have the least resources. I think, however, the international community and its discourse and its messaging is still very much supportive of accountability. I'm hopeful that we will get the resources that we need. We, the IIIM, are not going anywhere. We're a body dedicated to accountability for Syrians, and we have been doing the work for 8 years, and we will continue to do it in whatever means and resources we have.
Mr. Robert Petit, the head of the International Impartial and Independent Mechanism for Syria, we thank you for your insight, we thank you for this interview, and we wish you the very, very best of luck, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.